hundreds, if not thousands of people gathering there at the gates of Buckingham Palace, flags waving, etc. What's the scene like where you are? What's the mood like where you are, Mark?
Well, just overlooking the front of Buckingham Palace, you can see, and just coming down here actually, there are many, many tens of thousands of people making their way into central London to come down the Mall, to come down Constitution Hill and other main routes into this area around Buckingham Palace. In fact, there are so many people that want to make this pilgrimage to Buckingham Palace that some of the tube stations, Green Park for instance, has been temporarily closed because of the crush there. There are so many people, as we expected over the weekend, because of course on Thursday and Friday people came down here, but there were many tourists, people from the London area, people who were at work, getting off for lunchtime or after work came down here, Patrick. But what we also then got as the weekend has progressed are many people coming from all over the United Kingdom and beyond that want to come to this area. Now, what happened yesterday and what's happening to an extent today, because there are so many people and they have to keep the Mall itself, the roadway that we see, of course, for so many big ceremonial occasions in the past when everybody crowds onto the Mall. They can't do that at the moment because you have, for instance, the King, the Queen Consort, other dignitaries using that Mall to come and go from Buckingham Palace. So they're confined to the pavements on both sides and to come in other ways. So they're having to shuffle down. It's a slow process, and for those that are, a bit elderly and infirm, it's tough going. But they want to be here. And what they're doing, some are being allowed to go to the gates of Buckingham Palace to pay their respects there and to lay flowers, but many more, thousands more, are going into nearby Green Park, a much bigger area, and around the fountain there are flowers that are being laid on this increasingly large floral carpet that is spreading out from that fountain in central Green Park. And not just that, of course, you look at all the trees around Green Park and there are flowers that have been laid on the base of the trees. It's really quite beautiful. People just stopping to reflect on what the Queen meant to them, and of course coming here to pay their respects to King Charles III. And they were greeted, of course, the crowds here, to some images of King Charles as he left Clarence House an hour or two ago to come down to Buckingham Palace for what are a series of engagements this afternoon. At 2 o'clock, the Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Baroness Patricia Scotland, had an audience with His Majesty. We think that Baroness Scotland is still there. Now he is meeting with the High Commissioners of the 14 realms that he is king, as head of state of, because we shouldn't forget that His Majesty isn't just the king in the United Kingdom here, and of course means so much to us, but he is the head of state in 14 other realms, and that is important. The word is going out to those realms, has done in the form of proclamations. Now the High Commissioners with their chance to meet His Majesty, for him to, of course, relay just how important the Crown sees those other realms as well. And we are expecting the Dean of Windsor in half an hour or so to meet, have an audience with the King as well. So lots of coming and goings here at Buckingham Palace for people who have gathered here in the many thousands, not just then to pay their respects and to reflect on what the Queen meant to them, but to see the renewal of the monarchy, to see King Charles and all the trappings of state and all the functions that need to take place now as the new monarch is in place, and he meets his High Commissioners, and he meets his Prime Minister and his government officials and clergy and many others. It's going to be a very busy few days ahead as we move up towards that state funeral.